Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you another episode review from Season 6 of The Loud House. Today's episode is titled Double Trouble. First we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. In this episode, Lola and Lana enter a contest to be the twin spokespersons for a new item at Auntie Pam's ice cream parlor, but they finish as the runners-up while Cheryl and Meryl come out on top. Then the Loud twins interfere with Cheryl and Meryl's personal lives in their attempt to get them fired from their new gig, which successfully works since Lola and Lana are therefore crowned as the new spokespersons, but their actions caused Meryl to pack up and move out of the condo she shares with her sister. Lola and Lana make amends by confessing to how they were responsible for driving a wedge between their rivals, and they settle their dispute over a little ice cream. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. How coincidental that this episode is paired with another episode that involves someone getting sabotaged for one reason or another. What are the odds of that happening? Anyway, I noticed how this was the first episode in who knows how long where Lola and Lana were in the lead role and their polar opposite personalities did not drive the story forward. At least, not directly. Their individual behaviors were collectively presented as one and the same, and they were very much in sync with one another. A nice change of pace from their usual sisterly fighting. Their sense of unity was part of Auntie Pam's contract for the contest, and any set of twins violating the anti-fight clause when promoting the new Double Trouble dessert would get them disqualified. Now, as far as being the enablers of the conflict go, while I very much expected such underhanded behavior from Lola, I was more surprised how quick Lana was willing to go along with her sister by basically cheating to get what she wanted, something she didn't try to do in episodes like Wheel and Deal and Strife of the Party. However, you have to remember these two are still little kids, and they each had their own reasons for playing dirty. Lola wanted to win a crown, she's a pageant queen, so that's a no-brainer, and Lana really loves ice cream as we saw in the episode Sister Act, although she didn't cheat to win the ice cream contest in that episode. Simply put, if you're a kid and you know a lifetime supply of free ice cream is within reach, doing something shady to up your chances of winning is not out of the realm of possibility. Either way, their plan to be crowned as the winners of the contest eventually worked out, but it came at the cost of severing a once good relationship between Cheryl and Meryl, so now let's talk about them. These two were given much larger roles compared to their previous individual and collective appearances, and I really liked how they were given some character development beyond their usual southern style way of talking. Much like the Loud twins, these two have a very strong twin sister relationship, they are both very much in sync, and they do a lot of things together, sometimes even better than Lola and Lana. However, there doesn't appear to be any distinct differences that make them different from one another as opposed to Lola and Lana, where one loves being clean and neat and the other loves being messy and unorganized. Clearly, these two adult women have a relationship with more defined similarities than differences, but that's beside the point. For the most part, Cheryl and Meryl don't let too many things come between them, and they handle conflicts with maturity. Again, for the most part. They didn't make a big deal about spilled ice cream, and Cheryl chose her sister over her boyfriend when she thought she was being given an ultimatum. So they won't let ice cream on the floor and men ruin their relationship, but not being together to watch the season finale of their favorite TV show is where they draw the line. I don't know how sacred their tradition of watching television together is, but geez. Sort of a dumb reason to move out of their shared condo and start acting childish during the ribbon cutting ceremony. But considering how it was Lola who was impersonating Cheryl over the phone and giving Meryl the okay to go ahead and watch the finale alone, what happened was more than just a simple misunderstanding. Cheryl thought Meryl did what she did was on her own accord and assumed Meryl was lying about the phone call she had with her sister. Either way, their dissolution caused Cheryl to start falling apart emotionally, and Lola and Lana knew they screwed up big time. Now that I think about it, these two may have caused Cheryl and her boyfriend to break up for real. It's not confirmed, but it's definitely implied. Anyway, they explained to their contest rivals how twins need each other and need to stick together. A subtle callback to the episode Training Day. It's amazing how crowns and free ice cream were enough for them to forget that very important lesson. Kids and consistency, you know? Regardless, everyone was able to put the past behind them and reestablish their unintended bitter rivalry on good terms, so everything worked out for everyone. However, there were some things that didn't work out too well for this episode, so now we come to the negatives. Besides questioning how Flip and Mr. Grouse were somehow allowed to compete in a twins contest because of their mustaches, I really don't see the similarities. Scoots said she had a sister named Mopes. Funny how we never heard about her until this twins contest came along. At first, it did look like Mopes was legit when she pulled up on her moped immediately after Scoots went off screen, but then she just disappeared before the contest started. I can see why Lola was skeptical on what seemed like a ridiculous charade Scoots was trying to pull, but then she ended up eating her own words by the end. However, Lola's skepticism was perfectly warranted and there was evidence to back it up. How was Scoots allowed to compete in a twins contest if her twin was never seen by her side, while the competition was well underway as we saw the other twins working to beat out the other twins? You see the theme here? I would have been willing to accept something a little half-baked, like Scoots running off screen for a split second to change into her Mopes persona, which appeared to be the direction they were going in, but she never did, and Scoots was seen competing in the contest alone. Heck, the revelation joke at the end could have been more credible if Scoots kept saying her twin was on her way, but was being held up or something, and only just arrived to make her on-screen debut at the ice cream parlor when the episode was ending. Seriously, what was the reason for Mopes first showing up, disappearing, and then becoming absent until the final few seconds of the episode? There's no given reason, and it makes Scoots' participation in the twins contest feel very lackluster in terms of writing. I mean, come on, Liam's goats were a more active set of twins than whatever it was Scoots and Mopes were trying to do. Of course, Mopes was in fact confirmed to be real just as the episode was finishing up, and honestly, this reveal really wasn't as funny as it was supposed to be. I mean, I get the joke the writers were trying to do, but it just falls flat when you realize Mopes was already supposedly real since Scoots drove forward and her sister came up right behind her, and yet the way the scenes featuring Scoots were written tried to make you believe Mopes wasn't a real person. Again, if we saw Scoots switching back and forth between her usual self and her supposed twin self, it would have made a tiny bit of sense because at least there would have been some reasonable yet questionable build-up to the revelation. Instead, Mopes only gets a quick introduction, leaves while Scoots partakes in the contest by herself, and then the two of them appear next to one another in what was basically a weak payoff to a joke that wasn't thoroughly thought out. Sometimes a little planning in the writing department doesn't hurt, and clearly this twin joke with Scoots and Mopes was not planned out accordingly. A super easy joke to make, and they just screwed it up. Wow. Just wow. Overall, this episode wasn't particularly the best Lola and Lana episode of the series, but it was certainly different seeing them take part in a story where they were more on the same page, for better or worse, instead of pulling themselves apart because of their opposing personalities. It was also great seeing Cheryl and Meryl get some more screen time and character development, and I came to respect the more mature aspects of their relationship, like choosing each other over a boyfriend. While I'm willing to look past Lola and Lana going low in order to get what they wanted, they're still kids, remember? And Cheryl and Meryl going off the deep end because of the one time they didn't watch their favorite TV show together, I cannot ignore the poor writing execution of Scoots and Mopes. It was so easy to build up the revelation at the end, and it just flopped when it didn't have to, all because of the poor writing. As for Mr. Grouse and Flip passing themselves off as twins, well, I think my complaints about that speak for itself. With that said, I give Double Trouble an 8.2 out of 10. Well, folks, that concludes my review of Double Trouble. I will end this review with something I found incredibly interesting. With her performance of 6 different characters and how pretty much every scene featured one or more of her characters, it seemed like Grey Griffin was carrying most of the episode on her own. When you consider how some of her characters were seen talking to her other characters, it's like this actress spent the episode simply talking to herself in the recording booth. All I can say is Grey Griffin definitely got her money's worth for pulling triple twin duty for a single episode, and it was a nice showcase and mini tribute to her leading and recurring roles of the series. It's kind of funny how things like that can work out, and you never realize it until you check the end credits. Now that's what I call dedicated talent. So, as far as this episode goes, what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.